but I think we don't work well together, if that makes sense. So it's better that we're kind of having that separation. Because I think the last time at our previous agency we worked together and he wasn't answering his radio. So I'm like spaz. I'm like, answer your radio, what are you doing? So,
Brothers and sisters, brothers and sisters, I don't know what this world is coming to.
You're listening to the Black and Blue Podcast, a discussion and celebration of the roles of African Americans and other minorities in U.S. law enforcement. Your host on the Black and Blue Podcast is Dale Peters, a law enforcement professional with over 20 years experience in the business. Hop on board this Black and Blue train of interviews, current events, and pop culture conversations. So get ready. The Black and Blue Podcast is coming at you right now. Hey, lovers and friends, welcome to this very special edition of the Black and Blue Podcast. My name is Dale, and I am your host. And yes, we celebrate diversity in U.S. law enforcement here on the Black and Blue Podcast, but on this Valentine's Day edition of the show, we're going to be celebrating love in U.S. law enforcement as well. If you want to be a part of spreading that love around, make sure you click the like, subscribe, and bell icons right down here on my YouTube channel. Or if you're listening to me on your favorite podcast platform of choice, please rate the Black and Blue Podcast 5 stars. And let's keep that love train rolling by checking out the Black and Blue Podcast social media pages for even more content. You can find me everywhere at Black and Blue US. All right, so like I said, today's show is dedicated to love in U.S. law enforcement. And my next guests embody that to the fullest. They're both sergeants with the Mount Rainier Police Department in the lovely state of Maryland. Lovers and friends, let's give a heartfelt Black and Blue welcome to Sergeants Audrey and David Calloway. How you guys doing?
Awesome.
hello, how are you?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate you coming on, especially on this this Valentine's Day edition. And the two of you are married, so we'll definitely get into that. We'll get into some fun stuff, talk about your journey in law enforcement, all that. But before we get into that, tell everybody a little bit about Mount Rainier real quick, where it's located, how large it is, and the demographics of the city.
Okay. Well, Mount Rainier is located in Prince George's County, Maryland. We border the Washington, D.C. line. It's the most densely populated city in the county, and is 1.2 square mile,
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
about that much. Our agency is about 17 officers strong. So we definitely need to hire more officers, but other than that, but I think there's a shortage nationwide with officers. But other than that, Mount Rainier is very diverse. All different walks of life, all different backgrounds, all different, you name it, is there at Mount Rainier.
All right. And how long have you two been there, respectively?
So I've been there going on 2 years. I was hired from another agency prior. Been around Maryland a little bit out of my 13th year of being in law enforcement. Going on 14 years, actually. But been in Mount Rainier for 2 years.
Okay. And you, Audrey?
Going on 3 years in September. But as same as David, I been in law enforcement for 14 years. We both graduated the academy in 2009. Different academies, but around the same time frame.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about what brought you guys over to Mount Rainier from your other agencies. So you guys are both sergeants over there right now. What are you guys' assignments right now?
So I'm assigned to the Criminal Investigations Division. I'm the supervisor of that division. And so we do major crime investigations. That entails, we investigate everything up to homicides. So if you get Victim gets shot. If they don't transition, then it stays with us. If they transition, it goes to homicide. We do sexual assaults, robberies, carjackings, you name it, we investigate it.
Do you actually have a lot of violent crimes happening there that you need to stay busy with?
Yes, yes, because it borders the city of Washington D.C. And it's very transient. It sits around other municipalities and also again Washington D.C. Not that far from Virginia. My caseload has led me to everywhere. Led me to D.C., Maryland, Virginia, other parts outside of Prince George's County, Montgomery County, and Arundel. So we're everywhere. There's only two
All
of us
right, all
assigned to
right.
that unit. Yeah, so
Okay.
love it.
So you're extremely busy then.
Extremely busy.
Extremely busy. Yeah, and crime doesn't know borders. It doesn't, criminals rolling around DC. They don't come up to the Mount Rainier border and just go, oh, let's stop, turn around. Nah, they.
No,
I know.
I wish, but no.
Yeah, we wish, but it doesn't quite happen that way. And you, Audrey, what's your assignment right now?
I'm assigned to patrol. I am the patrol sergeant for platoon 2. We're divided into 2 platoons. So I have roughly about 6 or 7 guys under me. Currently, my current status, I'm in the office because I got a bun in the oven. So I'm on light duty.
All right, all right.
Yay.
Congratulations,
Yeah, we're working on,
congratulations.
baby number 2 is on the way. So, of course, regular procedures when you're pregnant in law enforcement, immediate desk duty. So,
Yep.
but yeah, so I'm assigned to patrol.
All right. How far along are you?
3 months,
Okay, so you got a little ways to go.
about 6 more months to go. Yeah.
Yeah, about 6 more months. All right, all right. So how did you guys meet? How did you two meet and establish this love affair? Uh-oh. Look like there's a story there.
Yeah. I'll let him tell the conservative story.
I mean, so it's we always been friends. That was the awesome part about it. That we both worked for different agencies when we first met.
Nearby though, it was
Nearby
agencies, so we kind of always met up with each other. How usually cops do, talk about trash, talk about relationships, talk about everything.
Yeah, and then I always kind of I was like, oh man, she kind of she kind of cute, kind of sexy,
Yes.
So but I said it in my head because we were both like in relationships, so I never really told her up
Uh-huh.
front.
Okay.
But as time went on, like I said, we became real cool, and then one day we ended up having a call for an armed person with a knife, and we had got into a police involved shooting. The individual did not make it, so it was like at that point we were kind of both going through a tragic situation, and we kind of just consoled each other, if you will.
If that's what you
Uh-huh.
want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah. So.
That's what you want to call it, right?
Right. Yeah. So, pretty much to piggyback what David said, we've always been friends. So it was no secrets between us because he knew all my dirty laundry, I knew all his. And then, like he said, we responded to a call. It was someone that was armed with a knife, and I actually was working secondary part time. He was on patrol, but because it was a female, I was like, well, let me go. I probably got to pat her down anyway. And when we got there, unfortunately, we had to do what we had to do. And during that time, we both were single, and we kind of just leaned on each other for comfort because, definitely going through a shooting is definitely not something you wake up thinking, oh yeah, I want to go shoot somebody. Like it's definitely tragic on all parts, the family and for the officers. So they're during that time, and now we're here. And that happened in
Now you're there.
2013.
Yeah. Okay. and you guys kind of leaned on each other and consoled each other. What was that experience like? Like you said, you don't wake up that way feeling like, that you want to shoot somebody, but then it happens that day. And then what sort of grief and those sort of emotions did you go through at the time?
Oh my gosh.
So for me, it was surreal. Like I literally pinched myself because I thought I was dreaming, and been involved in a police involved shooting, may experience with tunnel vision, and that is
Mm-hmm.
real. I mean, that hallway got smaller. It was like I had extra focus, because it's, and I've been in public service. I'm a firefighter, or was a firefighter. Did about 20 years as a volunteer. You experience things in there as well, but it's nothing like being involved in a police involved shooting. Like Audrey said, you don't wake up stretching saying, today I'm going to go take someone's life. That's the furthest thing from your mind,
Yeah.
And often in law enforcement,
And you want to make it home.
yeah, but you forget, not to say, but you just forget about your back belt sometimes, your tools on your belt because you're running it for so long. And then I guess when it's time for you to use it, you build muscle memory in your training, you know that it's there, but you don't go to every call
Right.
thinking, I'm going for my gun, So
Right.
definitely surreal, definitely something that, it's, I don't ever want any officer to experience if they don't have to, but at the end of the day, you do what you have to do, but to make it home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do what you
For
gotta do.
me, when it actually happened, I went in my cruiser and I just bawled, like cried. Cause it was almost like, did that just happen? You're
Mhm.
constantly training, you're shooting at targets, targets don't shoot back, targets don't carry knives, and then to actually take somebody's life, it wasn't a good feeling. So like I said, I'm grateful that David was there. Like I said, we just comfort each other. Hey, how you doing? How you feeling today? And then one day after, maybe like a few weeks passed after the shooting, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? I called him up. He's like, I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, look, let's just go someplace. Let's just go. I don't care where we go. Let's just go.
And
And
the rest is
the
history.
And the rest is history. The rest. Well, all right. Where did you guys go that day?
Oh my gosh.
Actually, we went to Charlestown. Went to Charlestown, West Virginia. There's a casino out there. And it's actually one of our little favorite spots. We go to hang out, not far from our area. At that time, it was about an hour and some change away.
Yeah.
Where we live now is about 30 minutes away. But that's kind of what we hung out at. There was like a little dance club there, so we went to dance. Other stuff to do other than just gambling.
Got your little Cupid shuffle on, right?
That's it. That's
Right.
it. Absolutely.
Nice. All right. And then so you said the rest is history, and you guys got together, got married, and you guys have one child already. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We have a
And another one on the
7-year-old.
way. A 7-year-old.
Yes.
Wow. How's that raising a little one?
I'm having a blast.
It's difficult because we don't have the ordinary family life, where we work opposite shifts. I work the night shift, he works Monday through Friday, but now they switched us because I'm on desk duty. But we're coming and going. We drop our son off at grandma's house, or he drops him off, and then I come and pick him up. So we never really see each other until the weekend. And by that time, we're trying to catch up on sleep because we're just exhausted,
Yeah.
especially working shift work. So it's kind of difficult. I mean, overall, we always make sure we have fun. 'Cause like I said, me and David were best friends. So, the way we kind of play around with each other, everyone's like, y'all don't act like y'all married, so yeah, because we slap
Yeah. You
box
don't.
and everything. So, people look at us like we're strange, like, y'all
Wow.
don't act married. Yeah,
What can take the
Wow.
slap box?
I know.
Domestic.
Yeah. No, you guys are training. You're training. That's what you're doing.
Right, that's
Yeah.
right,
Defensive tactics.
Defensive
Yes.
tactics. Defensive tactics. Yeah.
Refreshing.
Refreshing that up. That's what's up. That's what's up. So you guys got one on the way, and then like you said, it's difficult working shift work. You know, you guys working opposite schedules. You don't think that has been putting a strain on the relationship, on the family life, just because, like you said, you guys don't spend that much time except for the weekends together, and a lot of that is sleep, right?
I would say at first it did. At first, when we first kind of got together and we was
Yeah.
experiencing parenthood, and then also trying to come up through the ranks and make a name for yourself in your career. There was definitely a lot of understanding that needs to be had on both sides. At the time, I was a worker. I was like a workaholic. At the time, I was assigned to community policing when I was with Bladensburg Police Department, and I was pulling like 16 to 20 hours. I mean, I was just so locked in to my job, and I had to, to me, I had to realize like, wow, like I don't care what you say, oh, it should be great because, your wife is in law enforcement. You should be understanding. A wife is still a wife.
Yeah.
She wants you home like everybody else. So, but through time though, she was very supportive, but I had to find that balance of when to be a husband, when to be a dad, when to be Detective Calloway or Officer Calloway, when to turn it off, when to turn it back on. So,
I think that was the biggest struggle for me is when to turn it off and when to turn it back on. It's like, you're on the street, Joe Blow citizen, you have that strong demeanor, that strong officer presence, and then you have to come home and be a wife and be nurturing and be all this other stuff. But I think that was the biggest thing. And also just having respecting each other's bounds, what pushes our buttons, what things not to do, things to do, our love languages and stuff like that. But yeah, it doesn't matter if I'm in policing, a wife is still a wife. I still want you home. But I have an understanding like, oh, babe, I got court. All right. It's not much of
Yeah.
an argument because, I see
Yeah.
the subpoenas as they come in. I'm like, all right, whatever. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
But you still, but I think we don't work well together, if that makes sense. So it's better that we're kind of having that separation
Yeah.
because I think the last time at our previous agency, we worked together and he wasn't answering his radio. So I'm like, spaz, I'm like, answer your radio, what are you doing?
Yes. That's what I was going to ask you. What does that feel like? The two of you working together, your spouse, you working you may not work the same schedule or the same, but if you do, just like you
It's
said,
dangerous.
they're not answering the radio.
It's
Do you
dangerous.
find yeah, David, have you ever found yourself, wanting to go to the same call that she's on just because, she happens to be your wife, or if you were dating at the time, that can get a little messy, no?
So I'm strange. I don't worry about her in that aspect because one, I saw how she can handle herself on the streets. So I don't think I worried about that. But if I know that she's working late and if I don't hear about her by a certain time, I will call and check on her. If I'm at work and she's at working, if she's working a shift or something and we have to be there at the same time, I would monitor, just like I would do any other patrol officer. But I know that she's a supervisor. I know that she's a great officer. So I try not to step in and be like, "Hey, I'm the husband here to save the day." I will, but I try not to do that because she has to develop her own respect, if you will. And sometimes you don't want somebody to, oh, that's your husband. He's gonna come save you, or
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So
this is based on now. Now we're mature, we're supervisors, but there was an incident where he was fighting a guy with a gun, and I heard him drop the signal 13, and I was at work. Of course, my heart drops.
And
So
what does
I'm
that
going
mean?
priority,
What
huh?
the third signal 13 means what?
Oh, I'm sorry, a signal 13 officer in trouble.
Okay.
So he pressed the officer in trouble button, and basically
Gotcha.
when you press that little red button, the entire county comes. But when I heard it, it was from him. When I say like I flew lights and sirens to his location, and then when I got on scene, I wasn't even thinking about the uniform, I was like, who done trying to fight my husband? Like, and then I ended up getting a
no. Yeah,
complaint. I'm
yeah.
like, oh, I get a complaint, but whatever.
That was
Yeah, that's real talk, real talk. Does your department have, when you guys are both sergeants now, so you guys probably would never ride together, but was there a policy for family members not being able to work together?
Yeah, they
yes.
did. So he's under a different commander. He's under the administrative lieutenant, and I'm under the patrol lieutenant.
Right.
So, they was like, well, you guys can't work, together. You can't, supervise one another and things like that. So that was pretty much it. Other than that, the former chief of Mount Rainier, Chief Morgan, he took a chance on hiring a married couple. So I think we had to convince him, like, hey, we're not like the typical married couple that you might hear in law enforcement where it's messy and, a whole bunch of rumor mill and so is sleeping with this person, whatever. I was like, nah, we not like that. So
Not
he took
like
a
that.
chance on us, yeah, and hired us both. And, I like to
Oh, so
think that we made, huh?
yeah, so you guys came over together, huh?
I came over first
First
in September, and then he came afterwards, December or January?
December.
December.
Mhm.
Yeah, of 2019.
Okay, all right, package deal.
Yep,
There you
that's
go.
right.
Package deal.
That's
Yeah,
what we tell everyone.
exactly. Definitely package deal. So what's that experience been for you, Audrey, with your current department and in your former department, being a female in this profession, this male dominated profession? I know you just got done saying, you can handle yourself, and when you got on scene when David was involved in something, you ran ready to handle business, but still, nonetheless, it's a male dominated profession. Even the guys that you got to work with, that you've been working with all the time you've been in this profession. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, I think in my previous agency, it was definitely like taboo to be a black female that was like in leadership. When I started policing in 2009, of course, I had to work my way up, but I dealt with a lot of haters, if you will, that did not want to see a black female be promoted to corporal. Um, they tried to sabotage me. They tried to, it was, they'll take pictures of my car seat because this is when we had our first child. And we got
Mm-hmm.
permission from the chief at the time. Hey, I know both of you guys work here. So if you need to transport the child, okay, it's fine. I'm like, okay, cool. But I guess these officers didn't know that. So they took photos of my cruiser with the child seat in there and try to write me up and all this stuff. But no weapon form shall prosper. And when it came time to take in the corporal's test, I was the only one that passed. So I was
Wow.
kind of feeling myself after that. I was like, huh, you tried it and it didn't work. So,
Yes.
but even dealing with that, I just feel as if being a black female in law enforcement, I have to do triple the work, triple the power, like just everything has to be to the 10th power with me. Like I can't, there's no room for, slacking at all. And
Mm-hmm.
then even when you are that go hard female, it still brings on, even it's worse from the guys. The guys are like, oh, who she thinks she is and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. I mean, I've dealt with it. I know how now to kind of manage it because I'm like, okay, well, I got receipts to prove why I'm in the position I'm in right now. So that's kind of where I'm at right
Yes.
now.
Yes. Love that. Love that. And so, you guys were in the midst of things over there by DC. I'm sure you guys were called out for January 6th. Yeah, that whole region right there had to respond to that.
Yep.
That whole time, we had George Floyd, leading all the way up to that, things happening in St. Louis and everywhere, Breonna, all those things. How'd you guys feel as black African Americans wearing the badge during that time? What was your thought process, knowing it's kind of like a double edged sword? We have to do our profession, right? But then on the other hand, we still feel these things and see these things as well. What was you guys' thought process?
For me, it was Wow. I think back, I was a little kid when Rodney King had happened. Um, and my mind kind of went back to that moment, um, looking on TV, seeing what was going on with Rodney King, and then experienced kind of that same thing, like, but on a magnified level, if you will, because it wasn't just one person in our time; it was multiple um, shootings going on unarmed unarmed Black people, African Americans, and to put on the uniform and have to go out there every single day or to investigate a case, um, it wasn't easy. You heard a lot of frustration, if you will. Some people say maybe hate towards law enforcement, but some of it was just frustration. So what I would do, and I remember telling Audrey because I remember her getting frustrated. She's like, "I don't. This is almost making me not want to do this anymore." And I said, "Listen, we're called to do this by God. So it's important that we almost like be the light, show people that all police officers are not alike. That people do care about. We are human beings. We do care about everybody, no matter what your race or gender is. Like, we're not going to show hate, but we are going to show that we're here to do a job. We're not going to just let somebody go because they're Black. We're not going to let somebody go because they're white. If you committed a crime, you're going to go to jail for it. But it also changed the way that I also just I became more patient, to hear the community out, and sometimes just everything doesn't have to result even in an arrest. There's some things we know we can't, like domestic violence. That's a must go, but some of your um, as we call like nuisance crimes, like drinking in public and things like that. Sometimes you just talk to people, give them resources.
Yep.
Sometimes people may be hungry. If they're stealing or something like that. Definitely, reach in your pocket. And we pay for people all the time. I mean, we love it. Just helping people and things like that. So, but it was definitely a tough time. We still got a lot of work to do. As a nation, coming from a lot of healing, and also teaching other police officers that are not Black to also see things from our
How to
our
talk to
people's,
people.
yeah, perspective. Yeah, exactly. How to talk to people,
Yeah.
and that's huge.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Audrey? What was your feelings when all this was going down?
Um, I didn't want to go to work. I mean, I think the pivotal point for me, I remember when the ambush officers in Texas and seeing that on the news and having to put on the uniform the next day and leave my son. It was like really messing with me where I was just like, what am I doing? The average person won't go out and do a job where the whole entire world hates you. Not because of who you are, not because of, your skin color, but because of what you are, because
Mm-hmm.
you wear a badge. And, I just try to be the light, like David said. I try to show people like, hey, we're not all the same, especially being a Christian, being in the body of Christ. It's important to me that um, I show people like, hey, there are good officers out here, and trying to just be that beacon of light for those who had a negative encounter with law enforcement. And I tell people, hey, don't judge me off my uniform, because when outside of uniform, you're like, oh, hey, my sister, how you doing? Blah, 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 blah. You be
Yep.
trying to holler. But the moment I put the uniform on, it's like, oh, F you, F12s,
Mm-hmm.
all this stuff. I'm like,
Yep.
well, why I get all that,
Right.
So
Yeah.
it definitely, it wasn't a good feeling at all. And then after George Floyd, it was just, oh my gosh. I was like, I really don't want to go to work now because for some strange reason, it's like, when one officer does something, no matter where he's at, every single officer across the nation gets penalized for it. But yet you got doctors that, do malpractice and people still go to doctors, still go get checked. You got teachers that, sleep with students and everyone still send their child to school. But it's like with police, we all get demonized and all put in one box, which I don't think is fair at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd like to think that it's really just social media that's putting that out there, because most people out there, they respect what we do. They know that we're needed, and it's just really what's going on social media. When you look at your timeline, you'll see F12 and all that, and you're always gonna have knuckleheads out there that don't like us no matter what. But by and large, most people respect what we do, know that we're needed, and they know that we're out there doing a tough job. So, but like you said, one cop does something in Texas or Connecticut, and we feel it all the way out here in LA. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. So what was you guys' journey in the law enforcement? You guys don't seem like especially you, Audrey, don't seem like the typical, I wanted to go out there and knock heads. Well, maybe you did want to knock heads. I don't know, but get out there and enjoy that sense of adventure. What was you guys' story in bringing yourselves into this profession?
Me, I grew up in Southeast Washington, and then later moved to Montgomery County, but
Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, Washington,
He's
D.C.
from California.
Oh, okay, Washington, D.C.
Okay. D.C. area.
Yeah. But the show New York Undercover was one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Yes.
And especially, I was like, that's going to be me. But I was also torn because I also wanted to be a firefighter. So I was like, which one I want to do? So I said, you know what? I'm going to do both. So when I turned 16 years old, I joined the fire department in Kensington, Montgomery County, Maryland. And I think my 10th year there, I got hired as a police officer. In fact, it was a big metro train crash in Washington, D.C. And I remember being assigned to the ambulance when I was a firefighter that day and got the phone call that I was going to be a police officer the next day. So, but I always love helping people. I love serving. I believe in taking care of the innocent. I do not like when people take advantage of innocent people. And that's kind of what drove me into law enforcement. But the compassion side, obviously, I told you I was a firefighter. So when you're on an ambulance or fire truck, dealing with sick people, you really got to have a lot of compassion. So there's two sides to come with me. So that's what really helps me be a successful criminal investigator. Because I can sit in front of anybody, and it's amazing. People are like, I have a gift. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I don't, but very good at getting confessions out of people.
Okay.
But I'm just chill, I just relax and I listen to people and I allow people to open themselves up, and then
they call him the people whisperer.
They call me the people whisperer.
The people whisperer.
So
yes.
It is a gift. It's definitely a gift, and but I use it and it's helping me become very successful in closing out criminal cases. So
yeah. And so since you were both a firefighter and now a police officer, we got that friendly rivalry. Did you kind of had that rivalry with yourself? I mean, how'd that work?
It's funny because, about like a lot of fire marshals, they carry, firearms and stuff. They have arrest powers out here. So that was a thought for myself. Like, man, I can be a fire, fire investigator,
Yeah.
But it's ran its course. The fire department was definitely, it was a blast. I had fun. I mean, I got a lot of awards, doing some awesome things. My engine company had assisted pulling 5 kids out of a house fire. Got a bronze medal for that. It was one of my, it was surreal that happened. So
you got good at Madden, right?
I can sit around the firehouse.
He's not a gamer.
I'm not a gamer.
I'm saying that's what they do. They sit around. They got a front seat for all the playoff games, and
he can make some good
Madden.
chili though. I'm pretty sure he learned
Yes,
that
there
from
you
the
go. There
firehouse.
you go. No, I'm just clowning, man. I love our firefighters out here in my city as well
Absolutely,
too. So yeah,
absolutely.
yeah. What about you, Audrey? What was your story getting into law enforcement?
Well, it wasn't like David, because if you would have told me in high school that I was going to be a cop, I would have looked at you like you was crazy. I was definitely into modeling. I was like, the glamour girl, if you will.
Okay.
And it wasn't until I started working at a DC nightclub that my brother managed, and I started doing security. So while I was doing security, I was patting down the females because they was like, we need a female to pat down the females. So he brought his sister in. I'm like, okay. So started patting down females, and then I saw a female DC officer, and she was extremely beautiful. But the way she was handling her business with these guys that we was throwing out, I was like, I want to be like her. It was just
Yeah.
mesmerizing to me because that stigma of females in law enforcement, they always look manly and stuff like that.
Yep.
But it was very important to me to bring femininity into law enforcement. Like I can still be cute and do what I gotta do and handle business. So with that, when I told my parents that, hey, I think I want to be a police officer, of course my dad was like, you can't be no cop. Ain't nobody gonna take you seriously. And one of my biggest goals in life is always to prove my dad wrong. When my dad said I can't do something, I'm like, all right, bet, watch.
Mm.
So that's what happened. I went through the academy. I actually went through the academy twice. So I was like, I'm determined to do this. So I did it, and that's how I got into law enforcement. And I even tried to leave law enforcement in 2018. I went through a tragic situation where I lost my brother, and mentally I couldn't deal with everything that was going on. The haters and just everything that was going on. I had to remove myself out of that toxic environment at my previous agency, and I was like, I'm done with policing. 4 months go by. I'm like, I'm gonna go be a real estate agent or something. And then I realized I will always see lights, police cars drive by with their lights on. And I'm like, dang, where they going?
Yeah.
And I was like, let me go ahead and just go back to the job.
Yeah.
So I ended up applying to another agency, went back in. I realized, okay, you know what? This is my calling. I
It's your
definitely have a
calling.
love-hate relationship with this profession, but it's the best profession in the world, and I can't see myself doing anything else.
Amen. Amen. Yep. It's interesting that you said you wanted to make sure you were able to be feminine in this job. The first time I looked at you, I was like, she kind of looks like I hope this doesn't rub you the wrong way, but Tisha
Don't say
Campbell.
Gina.
Yeah. See,
That's why I call her Gina.
yes. So
Gina.
so that's not the first time, huh?
No, my old sergeant, we used to get on scene. He'd be like, Gina, come here, Gina. I'm like, stop calling me that.
So Dave, that makes you Martin then, huh?
That's it. Respect my house.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. Oh wow, that's funny. That's funny. So Audrey, you mentioned some things that you had to go through mentally, and the two of you had to go through some things, some tough things on this job since you've been in this profession. How's your mental well being, mental health? I know just the other day there was a story of a couple cops. I think they were out in Florida that they took their own lives as well, and I think there was another couple that did that as well. I don't think they were from Florida, but they were vacation down in Florida that did the same thing. What's mental wellness for you guys as a couple, both in this profession?
for me, it's the Bible.
Yeah,
I am. That Bible is a blueprint of life.
we got it right here. It's not far from us. We constantly have the Bible with us.
Yeah, I got one of my
There you go.
cruiser at my desk.
Yep.
But it's so important to have a relationship with God, because law enforcement isn't easy. It's fun, but there are those times where not necessarily even calls per se, but just what goes on inside of regular work life can just be overwhelming. You can be doing great on the streets, the citizens can love you, and then you can have issues with your administration, or you can have issues with coworkers, or issue with bills, or whatever. So I think a lot of people think that it's the stress of the job as far as the calls we run. I think that's a small percentage of it as well. But I think just, you know, marriage, kids, like what any other person would go through, that can take a toll on you. So it's so important to one. I had to learn this because if you cut me, I bleed blue. Like I love this job. I used to come home, watch Cops, watch First 48, watch what's that one, Live PD,
Oh, the Blue
and
Bloods, all of
Audrey
it.
would look at me like, "Boy, if
Man,
you
turn
don't,"
it off.
and I just,
Yeah, watch
but
Martin.
now,
Watch Martin or something.
oh no, now that's her. We just finished watching Martin. She loves Martin,
Okay,
but it
okay.
definitely helps to disconnect, definitely from the job. And I've learned how to do that. Vacation, vacation, vacation.
There you go.
We are now, I have a rule now that every time the season change, we go somewhere. So,
There you go.
yeah, just vacation is huge. And hang around family and friends. I have a lot of cop friends, but I have a lot of friends that are not cops. So, and sometimes we just mingle, or, if I want to, whatever. If I want to be around someone I got friends with doctors, lawyers, sanitation, it don't matter.
Yeah,
I hang
yeah,
out with them and we just have a good old time. So,
I
yeah,
think the
yeah.
biggest thing is we always kind of confide in each other. Um, you know, it's they say the biggest gossipers is a husband and wife. Cause I would call him, like, babe, guess what? Oh my gosh, and he'd be like doing the same thing. But I think as far as mental health, um, it's important just to have that support system and to be open and honest and brutally honest with how you're feeling. Because there's some days where I need to be ministered to. No matter how many Bible verses I may know or recite off the top of my head, sometimes my husband has to come in as my covering and minister to me, and vice versa. Because sometimes when he's feeling disgruntled at work or just frustrated with the administration and stuff like that, I was telling him, well, babe, you're there for a reason. You're there for a purpose. God has you there for, a purpose. And he realized that, especially, he just solved a crime where this guy was going around raping and sexually assaulting women in the city. Um, this guy ended up getting locked up and get like 40 years, but to see the victims cry and they all come to him and hug him, and that was a very emotional time for him, to make me feel like, okay, you know what? I know why God has me here. So even during all that, I still had to, I mean, David has came home. Um, there was an incident where a female hit him several times in the face. He had scratches on his face, and he just sat at the corner of the bed. And I'm like, babe, are you okay? And he was just zoned out because he had to put his hands on a female. And of course, me being who I am and being goofy, I'm like, well, where's she at? Like I need to go find her, So, but he was like, well, babe, she's in the hospital. I'm like, oh, so
Oh,
yeah. I was like, oh,
that part. Okay.
but right, but he had to do what he had to do to get home, you know. Um, but for me, like I said, when I lost my brother in 2018, he had a pretty much a heart attack, and that was a time when I was going through the process of becoming corporal. And like I said, I had several of the male officers there basically just attacking me constantly attacking me. And I told my chief, I said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore because I'm going to go postal and lose my mind if I don't remove myself from this situation. And he was like, no, 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 no. Just, you're dealing with a lot right now. You're dealing with grief. Like, just sit back, think about it for a week, just chill out. Okay. And I just had a long talk with him, and I'm like, babe, are you gonna be good with handling everything? Because I can't go back there, because right now it's not all processing.
Hmm.
Trying to be strong for my family, trying to be strong for my mom who's grieving because she just lost her son. It was a lot. So that week went by, and I told my chief, I said, I'll see you Friday. I'll drop everything off. I'll drop my cruiser off, gun belt, vest, everything. You can have it. I'm done. So I think it's important that we acknowledge when we are at our limits, um, and just trust God through the process. I took a leap of faith, and now I'm here. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes. Yes. Excellent. Excellent. Excuse me there. So I know the two of you mentioned God a lot, and you had the Bible right there, and Dave said he's got it, at his desk and all that. What's your relationship with God, and the two of you are doing something special right now as far as advancing yourselves. Talk about that a little bit.
Me, it's all about faith. Got to have strong faith. I feel like God is my best friend. you know, I go to Him for everything. I've learned how to hear His voice. I learned how to pray. Because prayer is so important. It is, in order for you want God to interfere with your life, you got to pray because that's that license for God to say, hey, you're saying, God, interfere with this situation, whatever I'm going through, because He won't. If you don't ask Him, you don't pray, He will not interfere. You have to pray, and that allows Him access to come in and to handle any situation you want. Um, but being in ministry school, we're now coming to the landing. Graduate in May, so it was a 3 year,
Yes.
a long 3 years. But I've learned about myself. A lot of people think ministry school is about getting up there and learn how to preach. Negative. It is. I would challenge any leader, anybody that's in leadership, if you can go through a Bible college or ministry leadership school, definitely do it because it definitely highlighted things about me, not about the other person. It's about you. And you
Mm.
really expose yourself. I mean, you're writing papers and you will talk about things that you'll never think you'll talk about, your past, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is good because a lot of times our past is what trouble us, But
Yeah.
once we get over our past and we realize, hey, I'm human, Christ still accepts me. He paid the debt. He died for our sins. I'm good to go. And you just continue on
Mm.
with life.
Mm.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people come to us for advice, and I try not to drop Bible scriptures as much as I do because they'll end up calling me the old church lady at work. But whatever. But you know, my relationship with God is like, like he said, me and God, we homies. I hate to refer to him like that, but it's like you have to have that intimate relationship with God. I pray every time I, go to work. I pray for a safe shift. I pray that all my guys, all the officers, they come home safe and sound, that they're untouched. And it's important to have that covering. But like he said, we are in ministry school. And it's very important to us that as ministers that we're very transparent, because you see a lot of phony ministers out here that oh, you're gonna get a car if you send me 500 or whatever, something crazy, like we're not even about
Right.
all that. So we wanted to make sure, because we even opened up our house to other law enforcement couples, where the husband was a cop and the wife was a civilian, or vice versa, because they would have issues with their marriage. And we invite them in our house, and we just have talk sessions with them and to try to get them back on the path to God. But I think it's very important, um, being a woman in law enforcement and being a woman in Christ, that I find that balance and teach women that balance about submissiveness. People don't realize that submissiveness is a gift, and not everyone harbors it, but they look at submissiveness as, oh, yes, honey, anything you want, blah, blah, blah. And that's not the case at all. Like, even though I am A-type personality female out there, when I'm at home, he's in charge. He makes all the final decisions. Okay, did you talk to God about it? He'd be like, yeah, okay, cool. Then that's it. I'll follow. Um, and a lot of people can't seem to understand the importance of that. So it's very important that I, kind of just be that example to a lot of female officers, or just females in general.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah.
All right. All right. I love to hear that. Love to hear that. And you guys are almost at the finish line there, right?
Yes.
Yep. You graduate in May.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are your plans to do with those degrees?
I plan to.
He gonna be a pastor.
Oh,
There you go.
He been running from it, but he gonna be a pastor.
That's a lot of responsibility. I really enjoy just ministering and evangelizing. I mean, I truly believe that the work is done out in the field, not behind four walls. The four walls I feel is for me, I have an excellent pastor, and to just gain the knowledge and then go out what I learn, and then also with something I may be personally studying and then go out into the flock,
Yeah.
Believe me, I know God is pushing me to be a pastor, but I'm definitely like, God, no, but you can't beat God, when He's calling you to do something. But I definitely enjoy just one-on-one, just one-on-one with somebody or calling someone on the phone and just breaking it down to them, not giving them a lot of the, theology things, just simple, just giving them milk, as we would say.
Yeah.
I'll take the meat and I mush it up and then just go and give it to them. And it's like feeding a baby. And that's what you got to do. Especially when I used to be a babe in Christ myself,
It was horrible. We used to cuss. We used to drink. The average cop life, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And God definitely transformed us and got all that out. Not to pass judgment on anybody else.
Yeah, I mean it's a process.
It's a process.
I mean it's
It is.
it's when you have those human reactions, whatever. Don't beat yourself up about it. I mean, especially being a cop. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, I may slip up, especially when you're emotional about something. But then you gotta go, oh God, my bad, But again, it's just about confessing, what you did and keep it moving,
Yeah.
I think for me, even though I'm like very goofy, if you will, Tisha Campbell, whatever you want to call me, I'm kind of an introvert. Like I don't go outside the house unless I'm going to work. So for me, my ministry is through the job. So when I go to these calls, like domestics or people having suicidal thoughts or they're battling some type of depression or things like that, that's my gateway to kind of minister to them. And usually they're very big on not mixing government and religion. It's like, hey, you're wearing our patch, what you do in your private time with religion, that's on you. But it's like, when I go into people's houses, I look around to see if they have any Bible scriptures posted or, picture of the Last Supper up or whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, are you a Christian? And, when they say, yeah, whoop, that's kind of my entryway to kind of go in and minister. But even if they're not, I still find other avenues to kind of minister to them without, dropping that truth bomb on them. Like you said, you take the meat, you chew it up, and you have to, give it to the babes in Christ. Because, there was a time where I didn't really get in trouble, but, I prayed for a person. This person was going through a mental episode. And, of course, it was on body camera. And I got pulled into the office. And they're like, hey, I'm glad you didn't shoot the person because the person was armed with a knife. But I found that time to, once they were disarmed, I had found time to minister to them because, they were battling demons pretty much. And, it was like, I appreciate what you did, but, you got to be careful of who you do it around. And, this area is very, you got to be careful. And I'm like,
political.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like restricting, but like I said, because I'm an introvert, I don't go outside the house. Policing is my ministry. So.
Yeah. Wow. Well, keep doing what you guys are doing and ministering however you feel you can. Like you said, you find other avenues, and yeah, it's a gift. It's a gift, and we need more like you two. So we appreciate you. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. So you guys are not done with this interview yet. Like I told you before, we're going to test your knowledge on some trivia here. So let me get this thing set up for you here. We're going to play a game today, and this is called
Listen to my heart go boot up.
All right, so this is my boot up game, and since this is a Valentine's Day edition, we're gonna talk about some couples. I'm gonna give you a couple that's a popular couple in TV or movies, and you tell me what TV or movie they were in. All right, so this is multiple choice, so you'll be able to get through this without too much scarring. So here's your first one here. Sabrina and Jason. Sabrina and Jason. Are they from the movie? Wait for the wait for the choices here, but we got Love and Marriage, Black Wedding Adventure, Jump in the Broom, and Back When Marriage Was Fun. And you said it was
Jump in the Broom. Final answer.
Jump in the Broom. That is. I take it you saw that movie. That's a pretty good movie.
We just saw it last week.
There you go. See, it's gonna be just like that. Just like that. Easy, just like that. Here we go. Here's your next one. Sheila and Troy. Sheila and Troy, are they from When Did I Say I Love You? Why Did I Get Married To? Who Are You Married To? Or Where's the Wedding At?
Why did I get married to?
Why Did I Get Married To? Absolutely. And they were in the original Why Did I Get Married? I think they're going to do another one as well. I think I heard the other day. So, yeah, good series there. All right. Off to a great start. Ray and Eva. Are they from Pool Is the Greatest Game? Love Via Express Mail? In This Together? Or Deliver Us From Eva?
Deliver Us From Eva.
Deliver Us From Eva is correct. Yeah, I guess I found a good category for you too. All right. How about Darius and Nina? Darius and Nina, are they from Love Jones? Me and Mrs. Jones? Solid as a Rock? Or One Love?
Love Jones.
Love Jones. Another great movie. Yes, I love that movie. All right. How about Quincy and Monica? Quincy and Monica. You think you know that? You know. Is it from? Are they from One on One? Crossed Over Love, Love and Basketball, or Hard Court Hard Love?
Love and Basketball.
Love and Basketball is it. Another great movie. See, I'm breaking up all these classics for you. You guys know these.
No.
Yes. How about Leslie and Scott? Are they from You Ain't Right? The Right Side of Love? This Can't Be Right? Or Just Right?
Just right.
Just Right. David jumped in on that one. Yes. Queen Latifah and Common. Another good movie. All right. How about April and Sandino? April and Sandino, are they from Love Roller Coaster? I Can Do Bad All By Myself? Let's Figure It Out All Alone? Or You Love Who You Love?
I Can Do Bad All By Myself.
I Can Do Bad All By Myself. Yes. Taraji P. Henson on that one. How about Harper and Robin? Are they from The Wedding Party? The Maid of Honor? The First Dance? Or The Best Man?
The Best Man.
The Best Man is it. All right. Couple more here for you. How about Johnny and Amber? Are they from Mo Money? We starting that over again, all right? Mo Money, Your Money Is My Money. We Getting Money? Or All Money Is Green?
Mo Money.
Mo Money. Yes. Mo Money, Mo Money, Mo Money. And you better get this one. Akeem and Lisa. Are they from Soiling His Royal Oats? American Love? Coming to America? Or Love from the Motherland?
Coming to America.
Coming to America. You better get that one. Absolute classic. Did you guys see the second one?
Yes.
Obviously not as great as the first one. can't never top that one, but
Can't
yeah,
top
it was
the
all
first
right. Nope, it was all right. How about Louise and George? Are they the Jordans, the Jacksons, the Johnsons, or the Jeffersons?
Jeffersons.
They are definitely the Jeffersons. All right. How about Charlene and Willis? Charlene and Willis, are they from The Facts of Life, Different Strokes, Full House, or Good Times?
Different
Different
strokes.
strokes.
They were Different Strokes. And that's when I fell in love with Janet Jackson on Different Strokes.
What you talking about, Willis?
Yep. And your last one here, Whitley and Dwayne. Whitley and Dwayne, are they from A Different World? The World Is Ours. A Flat World Is a Black World. And The World's Greatest Show.
A different world.
They are from a different world. Yes. You guys killed that one. You guys are definitely called.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what.
Everybody hands go up. All right, yeah, you guys killed that one. I mean, you can got any of them wrong. You guys know your TV and movies are happy couples. So, all right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And of course, Gina and Martin.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Of course. All right. All right, Audrey and David, I appreciate you guys coming on. Before we get you out of here, how about some words of wisdom about law enforcement, staying together in this profession, not even being in this profession, just staying together in a healthy, happy marriage?
I say for me, definitely put God first. If you are a law enforcement couple, just have an outlet, whether it's going to the gym, hanging out with friends, family, again, vacation, and just have fun. Just enjoy life. Don't let things get to you. Don't stress out about anything. Talk about things if something bothers you. Communication is huge. And at the same time, try to focus on what you want to do with this career, because it's a great career, and to move up in. So that's my spiel.
For me, definitely number one, put God first. If you have an argument, instead of fighting about it, go to your separate corners, go to the throne about it, pray about it. And then once you guys have calmed down, come back and talk. It's important to have respect for one another and definitely have patience. Not just in law enforcement. I know in law enforcement, we want someone to hurry up and give us the answer right then and there. But when it comes to your spouse, just have patience with them, because they're trying to gather up their words in a way where they're being truthful, but not trying to hurt you because they love you. So definitely patience, communication, and putting God first.
Great words of wisdom from both of you. I appreciate it. All right, you two. Be safe out there in Maryland, and we'll talk soon. I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks for having us.
You got it. Take care.
Bye.
Now. Okay, lovers and friends, that's it for this Valentine's Day edition of the Black and Blue Podcast. Let's give it up for my very special guest today, Sergeants Audrey and David Calloway of the Mount Rainier, Maryland Police Department. Thank you for sharing your love story with us, and I wish you continued success in your careers, ministry, and of course, your family. If you guys out there got any sort of value out of this episode, go on ahead and give it a thumbs up right here on my YouTube channel, or rate it 5 stars on your favorite podcast platform. I'll be back in a couple weeks with another story from behind the badge, but till then, y'all know what I'm about to say. Stay black in blue. I'll holler at you. One love.
This has been a Maitre D Entertainment presentation.